I request Professor Gautam Parigu, very kindly he has come from Baroda. You have reached yesterday? Yesterday you have reached. I request Gautam Parigu, Dr. Gautam Parigu of Baroda University, since retired. To begin his presentation.
Chairman and scholars and friends, I really feel that whether I deserve to be here, because I don't think I am spiritually of any level. I therefore feel very, very honored that you have selected me to participate in this wonderful theme. Also, I should clarify that I'm not an expert of Jainism. I happen to be working in a museum 3 days a week, and we have, I was offered to study the manuscript paintings, a lot of manuscript paintings. And I suppose, or maybe I'll first read some of the notes. And I have this, what I have prepared is more in the form of notes and also short notes, so that I can keep to the limit of 30 minutes. Paintings of Uttaradhyana Sutra on giving pictorial form to Mahavir's teachings. In comparison with the paintings of Kalp Sutra, which is more popular Jain manuscript, which has many of which are illustrated. The maximum number of, or whatever number of illustrated manuscripts we have of Jain subject matter, that is of Kalp Sutra, which have stories of Tirthankaras, which illustrate the episodes of archetypal life of Mahavir and 3 other Tirthankaras, Parshvana, Nemina and Vishabna in that sequence. The paintings of Uttaradhyana Sutra are based on Mahavir's ethical teachings. Its intention is to instruct a young monk in his principal duties and to recommend the worthiness of ascetic life by following precepts and examples. It warns him against the dangers in his spiritual career, giving him further theoretical information. It has not been realized that very few Uttaradhyana Sutra manuscripts have been illustrated. These paintings are difficult to understand, requiring high level of talent on the part of the medieval traditional painters to execute. This illustrated manuscript, particularly what I am presenting here, is dated 1549 Vikram Samvat, which is 1492 AD, that is end of 15th century, is probably one of the earliest depictions of the concepts from Uttaradhyana Sutra, significantly painted by a Patan artist in Gujarat, and entirely innovative, even though following the characteristic language of Jain style. The people will present to attempt to interpret as many paintings as possible. There is a tradition that Mahavir expositioned sometime before his death 36 sermons, which are identified in the Kalp Sutra with the Uttaradhyana Sutra. Uttara implies the last. These sutras are compiled with the Acharanga Sutra. However, Uttara also means the superior. Thus, Uttaradhyana Sutra is an essential treatise of Mahavir's teachings. Adhyayana refers to spiritual efforts in freeing oneself from the karma bandhana, the bond of life and death. The style construction of Uttaradhyana Sutra also establishes its early date, namely the few words in a sutra, but implying very deep meaning. The style construction of Uttaradhyana Sutra also establishes its early date, namely the few words in a sutra, but implying very deep meaning. In terms of its weightage within the Jain canonical treatises, Uttaradhyana Sutra is given the same status as Bhagavad Gita in Hindu texts and Dhammapada among Buddhist texts. Pardon? Date? 1492 AD. Uttaradhyana Sutra is the first Mula Sutra, which belongs to the last section of the Jain Siddhanta. A long treatise on the accurate knowledge of animate and inanimate things has been added at the end of the book. Among the precepts elucidated is that nearly everything is possessed of a soul: plants, particles of earth, cold water, fire, and wind. There is an apparent plan in the selection and arrangement of the single lectures. Still, it is open to doubt whether they were all composed by one author. Perhaps these are selected from traditional oral and written literature. Most tracts, along with the canonical works, are old and compiled during the period of Bhadrabahu before the Christian era. Additions and alterations are made until the time of the first edition under Devardi Gangina. One of the oldest commentaries is the Tika of Devendra, 1179 Vikram Samvat, that is 1123 AD. This is earlier than the Gujarati gloss Sutra Deepika of Lakshmi Vallabh, which is published along with the Calcutta edition of Uttaradhyana Sutra, 1879 AD. In English translation, they use the term lecture. So there are 36 lectures. And in the manuscript, there is an attempt to either use one illustration or two illustrations for each of the whatever would be the sense or what the artist picks up from that particular chapter to make the illustration. I should just briefly draw your attention that perhaps what we had in the two presentations in the morning, we have these great gods or great personalities who have achieved a level of divinity or a level of spirituality. So obviously and then there is nearly 100 years of scholarship of how the element of spirituality is implied in them. Here, in these paintings, we'll see an attempt by the painter to try to understand what is significant, which he can attempt to pictorialize, or which he can show through the pictorial language. So it is not directly images of gods. It is concepts, percepts, which Mahavir is supposed to have said in this lecture by lecture presentation, this exposition. We have here date. See there are two dates. This is the date, Samvat 1549, which is equivalent to 1492 AD. There is another date, but that is in Shaka era. I don't know why. And it is also a date which is when it is presented to the temple, or the Jain Upashraya. And there is also the name of the town, Pattana, often Pattan Nagare, that is how it town is referred to. I have little difficulty in first and second, lectures and illustrations because there is quite a jumble. But still, I'll read out. I have made as brief summaries of each of the chapters as is possible, and then we can see whether any images in the painting relate to that concept. This is frame 1, lecture 1, opens with a statement that I shall elucidate the discipline of houseless bhikshu. Actually, later in second lecture, there is a mention that Sudharma Swami, preaching to his pupil Jumbo Swami, explained that Mahavir has instructed like this. So we have in this indirect way the record or reference to Mahavir having said this to Sudharma Swami, and then Sudharma Swami is then explaining this to his pupil Jambu Swami. But this is not mentioned in first lecture. In first lecture it opens like this: I shall elucidate the discipline of houseless bhikshu. I found this very interesting. There is a pravarja in Buddhism, and in Jainism, this houseless, that phrase is very often mentioned. One who has overcome outer connections, family members, for example, and inner desires, greed, anger, etc. One who begs for food only to keep the body going, such a one is true bhikshu. Distinction is made between well-behaved and ill-behaved subordinate monk. One who obeys a guru, one who is indifferent to guru's teaching. Good bhikshu always stays close to the guru. That is good behavior towards the teacher. Ill-behaved pupil speaks lies, always under influence of anger. Good bhikshu has control on one's own atma. Then proper sitting position is also associated with the good monk. Ignorant man is compared with suffering witch with sore ears and pig who goes to filthy things. Maybe there is a small reference to this here, though I am not sure. The point is we will find these allegorical references, and some of these allegorical references actually are illustrated by the painter. So pig will choose not good food but filthy. So that is the comparison with bad pupil. And also such a person will not be liked. So which with sore ears will be always pushed away. Now, then in the second frame we have there is also mentioned in the lecture instructions regarding begging for food, and somehow this illustration relates to that notion. Monk should accept food cooked for others than family members. Food is offered from a higher position and with appropriate distance. No comments are made on taste, etc. The faithful pupil, free from all doubts, following all duties, remains in the state of samadhi, results in achievement of moksha. And so we find very often this kind of postures. This is the Kayat Sarga posture, and many monks are shown here. And there is also this teaching, monks teaching and pupil listening. So this kind of, and we will see again this kind of imagery where the monk who is performing tapasya is being tortured and he bears that torture. So we'll come to that again. This is also the Tirthankara's posture of Kevala Gyan. Like Buddha's enlightenment, the Mahavir or all Tirthankaras, they are shown in this Kayat Sarga position, standing yoga position, and it becomes the Kevali. the Jain equivalent for enlightenment. Now the second, the illustration on that side, lecture 2. The title is Parisha. I found that this is maybe related to Sanskrit Pariksha, but here the meaning is given hardship, which a monk must endure. Body weakened by hunger, Sudharma Swami, preaching to his pupil Jambu Swami, explained that Mahavir has instructed to overcome 22 troubles: hunger, thirst, cold, heat, stinging insects, women, that is Kam Vasana, lodging, illness, not to make efforts to remedies, that is if you are ill, you don't look for remedies. Loss of comfort, you don't look for comfort. Nakedness, your clothes are torn and you feel fear of becoming naked, don't have that fear, etc. Inner strength to bear physical pain. No expectations of warm welcome. And at least one illustration is here where the fire is shown, as if you are in cold atmosphere and you burn a fire. This is something you should not be doing. So at least one, and then this is of course the seated yogic posture of Tirthankara, which relates to moksha. That is the final aim. So this is how, in these 2 pages we have jumble of imageries, but reference is in one way or other to these contents. 4 requisites difficult to obtain. This is lecture 3. Sometimes I am wondering whether I am able to link the actual illustration with this specific theme. It is actually my, as they say, work in progress. In this, it is said that one has received 4 boons. That is, one is that is human